Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to Latvenergo Investor Conference webinar about financial results of 6 months 2016. Today we are hosted by Latvenergo Chief Financial Officer Guntars Baļčūns. Before I give the floor to Mr. Baļčūns, a short reminder about the agenda of the webinar. Firstly, we will have a presentation about Latvenergo Group activities and financials in the first 6 months of 2016. Afterwards, we will proceed with the questions and answers session. We have already received some questions in advance. If you would also like to use the unique chance and ask a question directly to the CFO of Latvenergo, please use the question box on the right side of your screen. All questions will be addressed after the presentation. Mr. Baļčūns, I invite you to start the presentation.
Thank you, Eva. Good afternoon, investors and stakeholders. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Latvenergo webinar. Here is the agenda of the presentation. I will start with a short introduction of Latvenergo Group. Then I will continue with financial results and current issues, and at the end of the presentation there will be question and answer session. So let's start with short introduction of Latvenergo Group. Latvenergo is vertically integrated utility that operates in all 3 Baltic countries. Company is wholly owned by the Republic of Latvia. Latvenergo credit rating is Baa2 with stable outlook. Key generation assets are combined heat and power plants, hydropower plants, as well as transmission distribution assets. As electricity supplier, we hold approximately 1/3 of market share in the Baltics. Before I turn to the more detailed overview of our financial results, let me first highlight some of the key market factors and events that have affected our business performance. So in our first half of 2016, electricity spot price in Latvia and also in Lithuania has decreased by 6% and 4%. And reached 35.6 euros per megawatt hour in Latvia and 36.2 euros per megawatt hour in Lithuania. On the contrary, in the first half of 2016, electricity prices in Finland and Estonia were higher than a year ago. The average electricity spot price in Finland increased by 5% and reached 30.3 euros per megawatt hour, while in Estonia it rose by 1% and reached 31.6 euros per megawatt hour. So mainly the price increase in Nordic countries was determined by colder weather conditions in January 2016, and also due to the repair works of power plants and transmission infrastructure in the June. So in these 2 months, as you can see, that electricity price was higher than in the rest of first half of 2016. Electricity price decrease in Latvia and also in Lithuania was impacted by a launch of electricity interconnection project Nordbaut at the beginning of 2016. It contributed to the convergence of electricity spot prices between bidding areas. However, during the reporting period, the cable was in the test phase, so quite often there were outages and limitation of electricity transmission. And that facilitated the price differences between bidding areas. For example, electricity price in Latvia was by 5.3 euros per megawatt hour, or by 17% higher than in Finland. The decrease in electricity price in Latvia and Lithuania was also driven by natural gas price decline in Latvia that facilitated also higher electricity output of Riga CHP plants. And that definitely also influences the competitiveness of our cogeneration plants. Next, let's look at slide number 7, and there will shows the summary of financial results of Latvenergo Group. Overall, we are pleased of Latvenergo Group financial development during the first half of 2016. As you may have seen in our report, our revenues remain stable, but EBIT is up by 40% or up by 25.5 million euros. The results were mainly impacted by lower natural gas price and lower electricity price. The gas price was by 28% lower comparing to the last year. However, electricity price in Latvia was by 6% lower than a year ago. Additionally, in this slide, we can see that EBITDA has improved in all operating segments. And now let's take a look at performance of each of segments separately, and starting with generation and supply. Generation and supply is the largest segment that makes 61% of group EBITDA. Similarly to Latvenergo Group results, the generation and supply segment results were impacted by lower gas price and lower electricity price. Electricity generated by power plants of Latvenergo Group in the first half of 2016 was 2,431 gigawatt-hour, and that is up by 26% comparing to the last year. The increase in generated electricity was due to the positive market condition that also fostered the amount generated at our CHPs. However, the increase of thermal energy generation was determined by lower air temperature in heating season. Regarding electricity supply, in the first half of 2016, the sales has not changed significantly. Latvenergo Group has retained the leading electricity supplier position in Baltics with approximately 1/3 of the market, and almost 1/3 of electricity supplied to customers in Lithuania and Estonia. Additionally, I wanted to emphasize that as the result of successful sales activities, we have managed to increase client portfolio outside Latvia by approximately 1,000 business segment clients. The sales also in these countries, in Lithuania and Estonia, were mainly focused on small and medium size enterprises. Now moved on slide 9, and let's take a look at the results of distribution segment, which is second largest segment, and it makes 24% of group's EBITDA. It is represented by Sadales Tīkls, which is distribution system operator in Latvia. Distribution segment is fully regulated. The revenues of the segment depends on electricity consumption and distribution service tariffs. In first half of 2016, the revenues of the distribution segment increased by 4% and reached 149.1 million euros, and EBIT increased by 9% and reached 48.3 million euros. Positive impact on the results was due to the increased distribution service revenues, while negative impact is due to the higher purchasing cost of distribution losses. Here I want to also mention that electricity distributed by Sadals tīkls reached 3,276 gigawatt hours. That is by 4% more than in first half of 2015. Investments in distribution segment reached 47.2 million euros, and the main purpose of the investments is to increase quality of network services and also to minimize the risk of network disorders. Additionally, I want to mention that starting from the 1st August 2016, the changes in electricity distribution system service tariff came into force. The new balanced tariff foresee introduction of fixed fee to all customers, but at the same time there is decrease in variable component, and due to the decrease in variable component, there are also large part of customers whose electricity bills will remain unchanged or even decrease. As well, we believe that new balanced tariff model would motivate also customers to optimize power connections, and that would allow us to optimize distribution network. Let's turn to third operating segment, transmission assets. Transmission assets makes 12% of group EBITDA, and it is represented by Latvijas elektriskie tīkli. This company owns transmission system assets and leases these assets to Augstsprieguma tīkls, that is independent transmission system operator in Latvia. Transmission asset segment also is regulated operating segment, and in the first half of 2016 there was a slight increase in revenues and in EBITDA, and that was mainly positively impacted by a gradual increase of regulatory asset base into the lease for Augstsprieguma tīkls. Regarding investments in transmission assets, then in first half investments worth 6.9 million euros, and at the moment the major ongoing investment project is Kurzemes Ring. Moving to investment figures on slide 11, you can see an overview of our investments. In the first half of 2016, the total amount of investments was 79.6 million euros. It has remained in the same level as last year. A large part of our investments goes in the modernization of power networks with aim to improve the quality of network services in Latvia. In first half of 2016, 68% of our investments were invested in networks. Altogether, we have 3 major investment projects. Daugavas hydro power unit reconstruction project, Kurzemes Ring project, and interconnection between Estonia and Latvia. Daugavas hydro power unit reconstruction project is aimed to reconstruct 11 hydropower units by 2022. in first half we have invested in the reconstruction 14.6 million euros. This year we are planning to finalize reconstruction of 2 hydropower units, and the total amount in this project has reached 66.0 million euros. Investment project in Kurzems Ring is aimed at increasing power safety in Kurzems region and to enable the use of Lithuanian-Sweden interconnection. Note about at the moment first and second stage of the Kurzems Ring project is completed. Total investments in the project exceeds 96 million euros, while third and final stage of the project is expected to be finalized by 2019, and the Kurzems Ring project is co-financed by EU. Third electricity transmission interconnection project between Estonia and Latvia is aimed to increase transmission capacity between these two countries. Total project costs in Latvia are estimated approximately 100 million euros. The project is scheduled for completion by the end of 2020. The project is also co-funded by EU, and the EU is covering 65% of construction costs. In June, environmental impact assessment stage of the project was completed, and so we are in the starting phase in this project. Turning to funding, on slide 12, you can see that total Latvenergo Group borrowings at the end of June were 832 million euros. The debt repayment schedule is quite well spread out over following years. In April, we have successfully completed our second bond offering program of 100 million euros green bond issue, and at the moment we have diversified our borrowing sources, and bonds constitute 25% of total borrowings, while the rest part are loans from international investment banks and also from commercial banks. One good news is that in the beginning of 2016, Moody's reconfirmed Latvenergo credit rating with Baa2, credit rating Baa2 with stable outlook. That's it regarding funding issues. And before I turn to current issues, I would like to ask a question to the audience. Eva, let's launch our poll question. Okay, here is a question. We would like to ask whether you know the brand Electrum, and feel free to choose your answer. The answer is, do you know the brand Electrum? And there are 4 options. I recognize it well, and associate with Latvenergo. I have heard, seen the brand, but don't know much about it, and I don't know such brand. So feel free to choose your answer. Okay, thank you for your answers. Let me give brief insight about Electrum. Trading brand Electrum was first introduced in Lithuania and Estonia market in mid of 2012, while in Latvia we introduced this brand in 2014, just before market opening for households, and we use this brand for our electricity supply activities in all 3 Baltic countries. And this year we have reinforced the awareness of our trading brand Electrum by implementing the partnership with Latvian Olympic Committee regarding Latvian athletes' participation in Olympic Games in Rio 2016. We have also organized a wide range of marketing activities with the aim to involve society and to invite to support Latvian athletes by sending them positive energy. Most likely you have seen that in TV. Now I would want to tell some insights about role of Riga CHP in the electricity market. As I already mentioned, the electricity generated in Riga CHP in the first half was increased by 2 times comparing to the last year, and the increase was due to the positive electricity market conditions, as well due to the lower gas price. And also you can see in the graphs that the gas price has decreased, and this decrease is by 28% comparing to the last year. In first half of 2016, Riga CHPs has generated almost 40% of electricity generated in Latvia. Also we see that Riga's CHPs provided significant input in stabilizing electricity price in the region, deriving from the unstable operation of new interconnection cable Nordbalt. Moreover, I would like to emphasize some general benefits of Riga CHP. Mainly the upgrade of Riga CHP was completed in year 2013 by replacing obsolete cogeneration capacities from 1970s. The power plant's electricity capacity almost fully covers the entire Latvian electricity consumption under limited electricity import conditions, and Riga CHP are efficient and flexible, and these plants can easily adjust the operational modes to the market conditions. As well, the plants fulfill all our environmental requirements and also minimize CO2 emissions per unit of energy produced. Therefore, we see that the role of CHP plants is quite large in our region. Before we start with the question and answer sessions, let me summarize the main points of presentation. So our financial results have improved. Latvenergo Group EBIT reached 203.3 million euros. That's increased by 14%, and EBIT has improved in all operating segments. EBIT was positively impacted by lower natural gas and lower electricity price, and the amount of generated electricity at Riga CHPs was increased by 2 times due to the positive market condition, and Riga CHPs provide significant input in stabilizing electricity price in the market. I have completed the presentation, so let's now proceed with the questions. Eva?
Mr. Baļčūns, thank you for the presentation. So let's open the floor for the questions that are received from webinar participants. A reminder to those who haven't yet submitted their questions but would like to do that, you can do that in the questions section in the settings panel zone on the right side of your screen. So we have received 2 questions in advance before the webinar, and I'll start with the first one. Some days ago, Public Utilities Commission decided to cancel Latvias Gāze temporary suspension of third parties' rights to use their infrastructure for transportation of gas purchased from other suppliers. Are you now getting rights to buy gas from Lithuania and use Latvias Gāze storage facility for it? What is the planned impact? The details, please. Baļčūns?
Thank you for the question, and we are definitely glad about the Public Utility Commission decision. But at the same time, I want to mention that there is a possibility that Latvias Gāze may appeal Public Utility Commission decision. So we will continue to evaluate the development of this issue, and if there will be such possibility of buying gas from other gas suppliers, we will definitely try to explore all these opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. The second question. Latvian government is currently discussing a possibility to differentiate OIK fees. In English, that would be public service obligation fees, based on capacity and consumption. If such decision is taken, how would that affect Latvenergo and its financials? Guntar, please.
Thank you for your question. Such a decision would not affect Latvenergo financials. Respectively, these changes proposed by Ministry of Economics will adjust the way how mandatory procurement expenditures will be split between different electricity consumer groups. Therefore, there are no direct influence on Latvenergo. However, these changes are in favor for electricity consumers with relatively high electricity consumption. Thus, it may increase the competitiveness for energy-intensive production in Latvia, and may also result in higher electricity consumption in Latvia in longer run. Therefore, from this perspective, we positively evaluate this proposal. Thank you.
Good to hear. Thank you for the answer. At this point, we haven't received any questions online. I would propose to give participants a minute to submit their questions in case they have any. Meanwhile, a reminder that webinar recording will be available, as always, in Nasdaq Baltic YouTube channel and also in company's announcements. So if you're interested in the recording or the presentation, please follow company's news. Mr. Baļčūns, thank you for the presentation and for answers given. Participants, many thanks for joining. See you next time then.
Okay, goodbye.
Dad, are you still online?
Yeah.
I have received one question that I would like to ask to you. That's from one of our participants. Do you already have some potential seller of gas in mind?
At the moment, mainly we have negotiated potential deals with gas suppliers from Lithuania. and the gas from Lithuania is most likely potential provider of gas for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. It seems now we have indeed answered all the questions that participants had. Thanks once again. Let's meet in the next webinar.
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.